crossing through 4 separate states in just over 43 miles in less than 24 hours. We did it, y'all. Cheers, y'all. How's it going? I am appropriately, I think, drinking a Trail Haze IPA from 6 Point. They actually call it a Hazy Adventure IPA. So I think the perfect beer to celebrate conquering the 4-state challenge, running through 4 separate states over 43 miles. It was an incredible challenge. My coach and I ran it this past Sunday. I know I've been a little bit quiet on the YouTube. I have been recovering in hard recovery mode ever since that run. I'll touch on that a little bit. I will have a much more in-depth kind of breakdown, the play-by-play of the entire run, as well as actual footage from the run. But I know I owed you guys just a response. So many of you have been cheering me on through training, looking forward to this challenge. So just wanted to pop in with a quick update. I am alive. We did it. We conquered the 4-state challenge. A quick update on how the run went overall before I give you the full breakdown, hopefully sometime in the next couple of days. And I also wanted to tease some things that you can look forward to coming from the channel over the next couple of weeks or about a month or so, as I shift my focus now entirely towards the Mohican 100-mile challenge. So this is a great opportunity. If you don't already, I hope you'll go ahead and click that subscribe button to make sure that you don't miss any of the updates coming out over the next couple of weeks preparing for my first ever 100-mile run. And also, please join me in celebrating this accomplishment by clicking that like button. But with that being said, how did the run go? I think now that I am far enough removed, I can say the run went great. I am so glad that we did it, but it was incredibly brutal and so much more difficult than I was anticipating. I think a few things play into that. One, my first ever and only ultra marathon I ran, the Bandera 100K, went so much better than I was expecting and was so much easier than I was expecting. Don't get me wrong, it was difficult, but especially going from having only run a marathon before to jumping up to the 100-kilometer distance, I was expecting so much more to go wrong and so many more challenges to arise. And really, we had the perfect weather, fueling went well, and yes, there were difficult points, but we cruised through that race relatively unscathed by the end. And so unfortunately, I think I was going into this a little bit cocky. And yes, it was definitely a lot harder than I was expecting, but ultimately, I think that's a good thing. I said going into this run that I really wanted it to be an eye-opening experience, sort of a wake-up call to help me start preparing for the Mohican 100-miler, and I think it accomplished exactly the goal that I was hoping it would. So like I said, I'm gonna post a much more in-depth breakdown of the run, sort of mile by mile, taking you through the entire challenge, what worked, what didn't work, what I really need to start focusing on in the last remaining weeks of training for the Mohican 100-mile challenge. So that is coming up. But just to give you a breakdown of the run overall, I will link to the Strava down below if you wanna kind of look over the data. All in all, it was 13 hours and 45 minutes of time on feet. So we started just before 7 a.m. And finished just after sunset, I think just after 8 p.m. on Sunday night. I think both of us were expecting it to be closer to like the 10 to 12 hour mark, but especially given the heat, it topped at about 88 degrees during the day. A lot of variables at play, ultimately leading to that total time, 13 hours and 45 minutes. Elevation, 8,200-ish feet total climbed, and the same in descent. It was a lot of just basically constant up and down. If you have never run on those sections of the Appalachian Trail, it's very mountainous, and Pennsylvania and Maryland are especially famous for just incredibly rocky terrain. So even when you did have what would normally be runnable flat ground, just very difficult footing, lots of large rocks, never really stable footing because you're landing at all these awkward angles as you're landing across all of these giant rocks that line the trail. And total distance, as I said in the intro, 43.78 miles is what it came out to on my Garmin. We had estimated it at 43.1 miles looking at it on the map, so that checks out. So as I mentioned, just some overall big picture metrics of the run itself. I will give a much more detailed breakdown later on, so look forward to that. But ultimately, a great run, a brutal run, a difficult run, and I certainly learned a lot along the way. So that is a great chance to transition into the next part of the video. I'm going to start posting videos of what I learned during this run and what my biggest questions are in starting to prepare for the Mohican 100-miler. Again, I've mentioned, I think, plenty of times in previous videos that the 100-mile distance is such an unknown to me, so much further than anything that I've run before. Again, the Bandera 100K being the only ultra marathon marathon that I've taken on before. So combine that distance with the heat of June, a lot of things to prepare for getting ready for this race. A lot of things that certainly have me nervous, but also have me excited to learn new things and to challenge myself in totally new ways. So in terms of content that's going to be coming out on the channel, I have some very exciting ideas that I will be announcing, I believe, at the beginning of next week. So get excited for that. I hope you are as excited as I am, but really the focus of my videos is going to shift from preparing for this 4-state challenge to how did the 4-state challenge go? What went wrong? What went right? How can I use that to make sure I am as prepared as possible for this Mohican 100-miler challenge? There is definitely plenty of things that I still need to learn, and certainly not enough time to learn it. So I'm just gonna do what I can and just be as prepared as I can be given the time limit for that starting line, and really just can't wait for that race. This 4-state challenge was certainly an eye-opening experience, but that's exactly why I wanted to run it when I ran it, so that I could take these lessons with me into the final a little over a month of training before Mohican 100. So I hope you are as excited as I am. As I said, stay tuned for some of these announcements. Again, I'll have the full breakdown of this run, the 4-state challenge, coming later this weekend, and then early next week I'll have an exciting announcement for the channel as a whole. So stay tuned. Thank you, all of you who joined me on this crazy ride in preparing for this run, for cheering me on the course, for following along the day of on Instagram, on Strava, etc. It means the world to me and helps keep me motivated during those dark moments that we all go through. So thank you so much. You really got me across that finish line, and I can't wait to take you hopefully across the next one at Mohican 100. So I will be back with more updates in the future, but thank you so much, and I'll see you around. Cheers.